Hey, you guys. Hello, 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 and hello. Woo, what a day, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me today for this amazing discussion, this very well needed discussion. Thank you for being here on this platform. Let's be clear. Some of you know who I am and some may not. So I will introduce myself. My name is Tamara Burton. My friends call me Tam, y'all. And then they say hashtag Tamset. Okay. Listen, but I just wanted to come on and introduce myself. I am the founder of this amazing platform. Let's be clear. We started a few years back, and the mission and vision actually started off with couples. We were talking to married couples, and we were breaking down the vow, the marriage vow, and we were talking about different things that happened during marriage, right? And the goal and the mission and the vision was to create a movement where we were changing the view of how society says marriage is and getting back to what the word said marriage is, right? And then things began to change and shift. And while I am still pro-marriage, I will always be pro-marriage. I want to be clear that I am not an advocate for divorce, but I advocate for the woman or the man who has experienced divorce and is ready to do the healing, ready to lock arms with a group of people or just one person or just themselves or God, to begin that process of removing the layers of embarrassment, shame, doubt, insecurities, whatever that thing is that may be holding you down and not allowing you to be the full person, the person that God truly designed you to be. That is what this is all about. And so we're not trying to get you divorced. We're trying to keep you married in a backwards way, though, right? So if you've already gotten divorced and you say, you know what, I think I want to do that thing again. I'm interested. You know, what's it about? What is marriage again about? I want to help you get there. And so today I have a very special guest that is going to come on and share with us, share with me, share with you, share with us a piece of her divorce mission and vision. But here's the thing. We have been talking to different folks about dating after divorce, right? Being single. What else did we have on here? Sex after divorce, all of the things. It's because it's so big, it's so broad, there's so many things that we can talk about. But today we are going to have Miss Felicia Kadima. Felicia, let me be right. Felicia Be Well Kadima. We're going to bring her on so that she can talk to us about something that I believe we all need to hear about, rather divorced or not, but especially once you go through divorce. And we're talking about rebounding financially after divorce. So I'm going to bring my guest in and let her introduce herself, and then we're just going to get going. So, Miss Felicia Be Well Kadima. Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girlfriend. Hey. Woo, you said a lot. You sent me down memory lane as you were just talking about all that transpires when we bear this cross called divorce.
Ooh, yes. Thank you so much for coming on with me, with us. Please share. I know who you are, but share with the audience. Share with them who you are.
All right. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen who are the audience for this amazing podcast. I am Felicia Be Well Kadima, and the Be Well is actually an acronym for B, which is you. The W is for wealth, energy, love, and lifestyle. And those are the things that I discovered after going through my divorce. And I'm so glad you shared that we are not here to encourage folks to get a divorce, because it is a very traumatic experience.
Yeah.
And sometimes I shake my head at the reasons why people get divorced. I can't speak on everybody's journey. You were there, you know why. Yeah. But some of the reasons, we just need more and more support for married couples, for people who are in marriage, so that they don't have to get a divorce. Because I just remember how traumatic it was for me. I remember feeling like, as I was contemplating it, as I was going through the process, feeling like my life is about to be over. It felt like I was jumping off a bridge and I didn't know where I was landing. That's how scary it was. But let me tell you, there's a landing that
Yes.
if you have to, if it's necessary, and you have prayed about it and you have done everything you absolutely can, I want to share with you that there is a landing for that phase. So let me go and tell you finally about me. So
Yeah.
I was saying, Felicia B. Well Kadima. I am a woman that has gone through the devastation of divorce. And through my healing work of the emotional, the physical, the mental healing work that I needed to do, because I needed to understand why certain things transpired in my divorce. So, as a result of my healing work and during that process, I discovered why I was dealing with certain financial challenges. And when I started to go back and unpack everything that occurred, I realized that even though, Tamara, I had a finance degree, I had an MBA, I've worked in financial services all these years, I didn't realize how trauma can affect your relationship with money, your habits, and your patterns. So I created a new platform called Girlfriend, Let's Get Your Money Right. This is a platform that is here to help professional women as well as women entrepreneurs manage their finances and divorce. And so I provide personal financial coaching to women and men if they desire, but my primary audience is women. I also provide coaching to entrepreneurs to managing their business because I have over 30 years of financial services experience. I have a lot of expertise in lending, in how to properly manage a business. There's that component. And then there's also corporate training as well. That's part of my company that is called True Path Financial Consulting. And the Girlfriend, Let's Get Your Money Right is an initiative. There's a Facebook page, a brand new Facebook page, and a YouTube channel that's being launched right now as we speak. So I'm very excited to be here. And this is such a great topic because I wish when I was going through my divorce, I wish I had a financial coach. There's a lot happening emotionally.
Yeah.
And when it comes to financial decisions, you really need support.
Yeah.
When you are having to deal with all the emotions that you're going through divorce and the financial aspects of your life. So that's why I'm really excited that we are talking about this topic.
Yes. Woo. Yes. I love that because I will be very honest in saying that when I was married, my husband was the brain for the money. I'll say it that way. And I trusted what he did, how he did it. Like he had full reins of that. Right. And so when we separated and then, divorced, I was in a place where it's like, okay, wait, how do I do this? And and how does this work? And so my relationship with money was not the best. And going through the things that I was going through emotionally, right? That trauma of divorce, having to separate the family, all of those things, money was just not at the forefront of my mind, especially if things were still running smoothly. Like we weren't missing a meal. The bills were being paid, all of those things. But I moved with my mom. So I really didn't have a big financial burden, so to speak. And so that wasn't a big deal until I purchased my first property, right? And then I had to realize it's no longer a 2-income home, right? And even when I moved with my mom, it was a 2-income home.
Right.
So there was no sharing. Now I'm in my own place, my own home. I am the owner of this. If the plumbing goes bad, it's on me. If, appliances are needed to be fixed, it's on me. So I didn't have anyone to to bounce that off of as I usually would, right? And so came to a screeching halt of learning that my relationship with money, it had nothing to do with the divorce. And I'll be honest with that. It had nothing to do with divorce. It had everything to do with me just not ever being really educated on how important the access of having money is. I knew the scripture about, what's the scripture about the love of money?
Is the root of all evil.
Is the root of all evil, right? But of course, growing up, I've heard not even the love, but money is the root of all evil, which is the wrong verse. That is the wrong. That's not quoted properly, right? So for me, without even knowing it, I was saying, okay, money is the root of all evil. So I didn't go past that, and knowing that if I loved money more than I loved God, more than I love, the things that He has called me to do, it will guide me down a wrong path, right? So I never really even constructed a relationship with money the way that I should have, to prepare myself for something called divorce, which who prepares for divorce, right?
Right,
I didn't
right.
prepare any area of my life for divorce, but that is something that was affected tremendously when I became a single woman in my own home, purchasing, buying, all of the things that I had to do on my own. I wish that I had someone like you, especially after the divorce. I wish I had someone like you that would sit with me and walk with me and show me and teach me and educate me better about how to use this thing called access, because money is a blessing. It provides us access to
Right.
do things that we need to do, so that we can do what we want to do.
Right. And we are the masters. We are the masters, and money is our servant. It is a resource that we can use to meet our needs, our dreams, fulfill our purposes, build the kingdom, as well as be a blessing for other people. And when we understand that we are the masters, we can direct how it's operating in our lives. So yes, that's so important. Even as you're going through the divorce, a lot of times, depending on if there are a lot of assets that need to be divided up, and if you are a person in your situation, whether it's the man or the woman, where the other spouse was handling the finances, and you're about to get these assets by yourself, if you never really had to deal with that, you really need someone to help, a third party that's going to be an objective voice. And it helps for someone who has gone through divorce like me, who understands emotionally, because you can't be talking to your attorney because they're billing you for every conversation that you are having with them. And I want to say this, that the attorney is not your therapist.
Right.
The more you talk with them, the more you engage with them, they are charging you. It is an industry for them. It isn't a business. They do have a heart that you're going, but for the most part, they're dealing with this every single day. So you want to make sure that you have an objective person to help you when you're getting the certain amounts of money, what to do with it, what not to do with it, particularly when we're talking about like retirement assets. That money there's some tax consequences with that money. You want to be mindful of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I believe, I know that I was blessed in that area. My ex-husband and I, we did not want anything from each other. And so we had a very clean divorce, and I'm grateful for that. What I also realized is that, so when we were in the marriage, I managed my own money, so to speak. I managed my money. He managed his money. So we didn't do it the way where couples bring their monies together. They have one account. We did not do that. Right. So now I am paying my half or paying my part towards whatever that thing is. And again, as I said, now there is no half paying. There is full payments for me, right? After the divorce. But what I will say is that when I speak with young men or young women or men who are going through divorce, and I'm walking them through the process, the court paperwork process, I would love to have someone like you on my team so that I could direct them to you for that portion of it, because the financial portion of it, because it's your expertise, right?
And it's important.
Yes, and support. And I always say that, everything that we need is in us or right at our fingertips. And so you are a resource and right at our fingertips. And so I'm a resource and right at their fingertips for what my lane is. But learning that even during the divorce and after the divorce, how to compartmentalize the different things that you're going to be affected by in this divorce, whether it be parenting, because we go through a thing with co-parenting. There's someone who would probably be able to get up and speak and teach an entire class on how to co-parent properly. Me as well. I'm blessed in that area, right? Then we have someone that's talking about finances, and we have, someone that's talking about just getting you back together, the inner you. So having a symposium, so to speak, with all of these different compartment speakers of divorce is so necessary and so important, which is why I have a platform such as this, because everyone that comes on, they're going to talk about their own experience in divorce in a certain area of divorce, but because they've learned through it, they can teach about it now. Right. And so I want to know from you, a person who is contemplating divorce, but they know this is the end of this relationship, this is the end of this marriage, and I know that I have to go and complete this paperwork or what have you. Yeah. A person that is contemplating divorce or about to go through divorce and not sure what the first steps are as it relates to finances, that they share assets and all of that they share with their spouse. And this may be something that you normally charge for, so just give a tidbit of it. And then we could give them your information so they can call you. What would your advice be for a woman or a man that's about to go through divorce and just doesn't know how to go financially, which lane to go down?
Right. Thank you for that question. Well, when you're considering divorce, first of all, one of the things that I would say do that I did that really helped me was I joined a support group. And there's a nationwide faith-based support group called Divorce Care. This is typically run by churches, and it was a wonderful support group because at that point I hadn't filed, but it gave me the opportunity to kind of process all of the emotions. And you meet each week, and there's different topics, and one of the topics in there is about money, because that's something that you have to address. So one of the things and I'm so glad you kind of brought up your situation and how you guys chose not to divvy up whatever the marital assets were. That was a decision that you made. What I would say is that's why it's important to talk with someone so that you can look at what all the options are, what are the pros and the cons. Because when I think about a situation when you have two people that are married and their marital assets that are together, even though let's say the other spouse made more, and as a result of that, and for whatever reason, because either you as a man or you as a woman, you took a step back in your career. And you weren't able to take certain positions because you wanted to be the stable one that was around to help with the children. So let's say there's a lot of retirement assets. You can make the decision, okay, I'm going to just decide I'll keep what I have and they keep what they have. But one of the things that I want people to understand is that when there are children involved, you got to think about their future. You got to think about when you separate as spouses and each person enters into another marriage or another family, what's going to happen when we're thinking about our children? What are we going to pass down to those children? Right. So I am all about evaluating all of the options and seeing, does it make sense for me to get my share of the assets so that I can have something to be able to pass on to my children? Because at that point, you still have control. Once that spouse goes and they marry somebody else and they forge other, family relationships, there's really little control that you can have at that point. So there's certain critical decisions like, do I really go after child support or not? That's not something that I would advocate for everyone, because it totally depends case by case on the situation and case by case. So these are the things that you would have to, as you're contemplating it. And then even before you got to look at the cost. Do I get an attorney or do I not get an attorney? Right. That also, there's a financial cost to that. That's the one thing about divorce. There's an emotional, physical, psychological, and financial cost associated with divorce. And a lot of times people don't think about the financial side of it. is that it's going to cost you, particularly if you're dealing with the tensuous situation where there's not a lot of cooperation.
Yeah.
And depending on where you are, you may need that support of an attorney to advocate for you or someone else. And so there's a cost to that. So you'll have to take a look at that, or maybe working with someone like you who can help them with the paperwork, with the initial things. There's ways to go about it.
Yeah,
And also,
definitely.
one of the things that I also work with people on, if you do work with an attorney, you got to know how to work with them so that they're not charging you every penny. So
Yeah.
that's why, so there's before you get into the divorce, looking at the financial ramifications of that. And then during the divorce, depending on the asset situation, what's going to be the best for you. I don't tell people what to do. I provide them, here's the different scenarios, and you got to consult your faith-based minister, pray about it, and see what is the best decision for you, both man and woman. So there's that. And then there's the post-divorce. Now, how are you going to live? Because as you can imagine, us living here in California, the cost of living is ridiculous. And so that's one thing that you'll have to start thinking about. Like, how am I going to, especially let's say the other spouse decides to move out of state and you're going to be the sole single parent. How are you going to manage that by yourself? So there's so many different financial decisions that you have to make. And so one of the things that I would highly advocate is once you get through it, incorporating financial literacy, like getting so that you can understand how to manage your money. One of the things that I deal with is not so much about the budgeting and investments. You can Google all that stuff. And I'm not an advisor, because a financial advisor is someone who is licensed to discuss certain financial products, whether it's insurance or investments. I know general information about those, but really a person who is licensed should really be advising you about this. So don't go to your neighbor. Go to a person who's advised. The thing about me is I'm more of a coach, where I will address the patterns, the behaviors, and the relationship that you have with money. We will look at the psychological, what are maybe some traumas that you've experienced in your life that are affecting the decisions around money. You would be surprised at things like not having a strong sense of self-worth can affect your relationship with money. And the way that it shows up, Tamara, is for some women is overspending on material things like bags, shoes, etc., to validate who we are. You're buying all this stuff thinking, well, if I have the latest bed, that's going to reflect, validate me. Or my issue was overgiving in an attempt to buy love. Some of us, and this will be family, some of us have survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt, where you may be the one that made it, but you, because of your sense of lack of self-worth, you feel like you have to buy love by either anytime somebody calls you for money, you're giving them money, you're buying them a present. So it shows up in different ways. And until you can uncover the beliefs that are playing in your mind about money, things are not going to change. You're going to have the same patterns where you've got too much debt, you're living paycheck to paycheck, or I've seen a caption that says, get paid on Friday and broke on Monday. You'll be living those, and you're not going to have the retirement assets that you need. Face it, we're living longer. Yeah. And we need to start thinking about these things. At my point of life, I'm approaching 50 years old. Now I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to leave these children? I've lived my life. What am I going to do in order to leave something in place for them? Yeah. That's why really addressing, how do we rebound financially after divorce? There's just so many different aspects of it.
Yeah, there is. There's so much to it. And I believe that when we talk about relationship in general, there's a way of building in a relationship. In order for us to know a thing, we have to talk to a thing, right?
Right.
Or a person, and we have to know the voice of the person. We have to know what the person bring to us, what they take from us, right? What we
Right.
can add to them, and so forth and so on. So it's the same with money. You know, building a relationship with it. How does it work for me?
Right.
What access do I have because of it, right? So
Mhm.
I think we attempt to put stipulations on certain types of relationships, but at the end of the day, there's still the foundational way of building a relationship with everything, right?
Right.
And it
Mhm.
starts with you. So you mentioned something about you said I'd be surprised at how the way or the reason why people do not have a good relationship with money is because of how they look at themselves, needing to feel validated, and all of these different things. And it doesn't surprise me because I was that before. You know, it doesn't surprise me because I've been the receiver on the end of someone not knowing who they were, and it just felt like you just giving, kind of buying my love, or giving me what everything was yes. And
Mhm.
so in relationship with money, I think we need to really weave in the word no as a complete sentence.
Right.
Learn how to say no to certain things. As you say, just spending just because you can, yet
Mhm.
when you spend, and you really can't though,
Mhm.
living paycheck to paycheck, being paid on Friday, as you said, paid on Friday, broke on Monday, right? We
Mhm.
have to learn how to say no. And so in rebounding, right, though
Mhm.
there's some rebounding in everything, but in rebounding financially, there's some very uncomfortable positions and situations that we're going to have to put ourselves in so that
Mhm.
we can recover from what we have lost. And so
Mhm.
I know that that is not the easiest thing to do. But if you find yourself, and you tell me if I'm wrong, if you find yourself struggling or being very challenged to use the word no to yourself about your
Mhm.
spending habits or subscriptions that you may have, if
Mhm.
you find yourself saying no, I think it's important that we contact people like you. It's
Mhm.
um it's important that we remove ourselves from hanging with folks who can do that, right? Because sometimes we
Right.
try to keep up with the Joneses, or
Joneses. Right.
try to live a lifestyle that we lived when we were married, and there were two checks
Two
coming in.
income. Yes, that income. Who
And,
that dude
and
income?
what's the
Your
difference?
income and his income.
Right, exactly. And so now we have to look in the mirror and say, there is a lack there. We're not bringing, the household is not bringing in X amount of dollars anymore. And so my lifestyle has to change. Things that I was once able to do, I can't do right now. And it doesn't mean ever. It just
Right.
means we have to, shift and change and readjust and all of those things.
Mhm.
So in rebounding, financially after divorce.
Mhm.
Give us a couple of tips on if someone is in a place
Mhm.
where they have done all of the spending and now it's, money is gone, nothing in savings. Now their
Mhm.
back is against the wall and they're like, oh snap, what do I do? How
Mhm.
hard is that to shift the mindset of being able to versus saying, I can't right now?
Took me 4 years. And I'm so glad you asked that question, and you're going to be surprised at my answer. Before you can even get to me, the good thing about me is I've done the healing work, and the healing continues. First, I
Thank
just
you.
want to let you know it is
Yes.
ongoing until you take your last breath. I remember I had this African American therapist, 70-year-old woman, and she was like, it is ongoing until you take your last breath. So, what I would say is they first got to start with the healing work of the heart and the mind and the spirit. Because some of those things like the shame, the guilt,
Yeah.
the lack of confidence, the sense of not feeling worthy, all of that needs to be addressed
Yeah.
because all of that influences our relationship with money. Now, with me, because I've done the work, I'm going to be able to be like, you know what, sis or brother, you need to go talk to Tamara, a therapist, or somebody because you need to do the healing work. In conjunction with that, then I can work together with them. But a person that's just kind of not acknowledged that there's some healing work, has not acknowledged that there were some aspects of them that contributed to the divorce, and just wants to kind of start getting tips on money, I can give them the tips, but it's not going to sink in because the beliefs, the wounds, the traumas, and the patterns are still there.
Get it, yeah.
But so I just want to make sure I say that start with your healing work so that you can heal your heart. You can get to a place of forgiveness and peace within yourself. Do that. So in terms of tips, the first thing that I always like to do is you want to do an assessment of where you are. What are your assets? Your assets are like the things that you own: your home, your car, your investments, retirement accounts. Try to see what you have, and then look at your debt. What do you have in your debt? Identify all your debt and quantify that number so that you can see, this is what I have, this is what I have going, this is what I owe. So that's just the debt piece of it. So there's that aspect of it. And then the next things you want to do is you want to look at, well, how much money do I have coming in? Right? At this point, we're not judging. We're just kind of putting everything on paper. How much money do I have coming in, and what are my expenses? Put it on a spreadsheet or just do a sheet of paper and calculate everything that's going out so that you can see, whether you have enough. And you can do that by going through your bank statements, a couple bank statements, seeing all the money that has been coming in and everything that's been going out so that you can see really what are your patterns. From there, you at least can see, okay, I'm doing either good or there's some adjustments that I'm going to need to make. From that standpoint, then you need to make a goal for yourself. Like, okay, this is where I am financially. This is where I want to be. That decision could be to cut down on some things and adjust some things, or it could be maybe I need to get a different job or create some additional streams of income so I can have more money coming in to be able to cover the lifestyle that I want. You can keep your lifestyle, because I said, you know what, I'm keeping my lifestyle.
Yeah.
That is not where I was like, because one thing about me, I'm not a bag, a shoe, or a purse lady, but I will live in a nice house and I will take nice vacations.
Yes.
That is not a compromise. I'm going to figure out a way to make that work. So
right.
You have to find out what is important to you that feeds your soul. Because you will be surprised, Tamara, that the things that feed our soul are probably going to be a lot different than when we're doing it from a place of validation or trying to impress people or trying to buy love. It's going to be totally different. It could be, I like to go on the beach and take long walks. It may not be the bag. It may not be, doing the girls' trip in Jamaica. So when we really get connected with our heart and soul and what's important to us, it may not even involve money. So that's what I would say is setting goals for yourself in terms of, so number one, I said, kind of jot down your assets and your debt. And jot down what money that's coming into your home and money that's going out to see, are you bringing in enough to cover all of your bills? And then make a goal on where you want to be financially, whether it's okay, like you did, I want to own a home, then you will manage your finances around that goal. So those are the three things that I would recommend, where once you kind of are in the rebound stage, these are the three things that you can do.
That's good. Those are all great tips. And one thing that you said while you were speaking about the three that I feel is the motherboard, the umbrella of all of that is tapping into you, doing the healing piece first, right? Because an unhealed way of thinking is not going to be beneficial to any of those things that you're giving us tips on. So if I have a poverty mindset, the way that I look at things is going to be from a poverty place. The way that I move, the way that I spend, right? And then I still may think that I need that, right? So when I begin to heal mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, I am looking at things from a different angle and lens, and I am able to judge myself accordingly. Like, oh, Tam, you didn't need that, right? Or you're eating out too much, right? Make it a habit to go to the grocery store and cook. take your lunch to work. Like, so it's the small things that you're talking about that I know for a fact when you look at how you're spending, as you said, let's see what you have coming in and let's see what you have going out. What do you spend on? And you will be, I know I was very surprised that the way that I was spending, like, you bought that 4 times a week, and it's so unnecessary where we could actually cut money or cut costs in certain things. And then again, what you said, when you heal, you will learn that many of the things you want that really feed your soul probably cost nothing but time.
Right.
Cost time. Because I love going to the beach. I love walking on the beach. I love to go, what am I paying? Parking, $10 to park, right?
Yeah.
I go in there, throw my seat back and listen to the waves, or walk on the beach and listen to the waves. And that costs me nothing. Yet I'm still being fulfilled and filled.
Right.
At no cost.
Absolutely. Yeah, that healing work is imperative. And it was through me doing the healing work. Here it is. I'm thinking I'm just trying to, heal my heart. But as I started to peel the onion, I started to just peel so many different areas of my life. The relationship that I had with my body, the relationship that I had with other people and men, not just my spouse, like the relationship that I had with my son, my brothers. It just that healing work. I mean, if we could just really, instead of getting on social media and complaining about men are like this, women are like this, if we can just go and do our healing work, oh my goodness, this would be such a different conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so our platform for Life After Divorce is all about healing, right? And I share all the time, as you heard me say earlier, I'm not here to advocate for divorce. I'm advocating for healing after divorce. And so when we heal properly, and as you said, and I share it often as well, healing doesn't have a deadline or an end point. Like, you continue to do the work. And even if you say, okay, this is the goal for me to heal in this area of my life, and you reach that goal, you now must have a maintenance package or plan. You now must have a plan so that you can maintain that. You don't say, okay, I'm good there, and you move on to the next thing. You have to maintain that space, and you want to get better in it as well. And if you are a believer, you also want to be able to share what it is that you did to someone who may be walking through the same shoes, the same alley, or down the same block that you did. Share with them what your steps were, the things that you did, and not saying that I did it this way, so you have to do it this way. No, but this is all to give people hope. I have you on this show today because I want you to share what you've been sharing, so that someone that is watching this, who is going through divorce or who is divorced, that's trying to rebound financially, can see that there is a way out. It is going to be work, as anything is, but there is a way out. There is a way to better. And there's people out here who's willing to lock arms with you and say and share and help, right? Everything does not have to be from a place of shame or guilt. And those are all layers, those layers that you say you have to pull back. Those are all layers of healing after divorce, right? There's pieces of me that I've learned that, I thought I was healed in that area. But honestly, you don't know that you're healed or not until you put in position to respond healed or not.
Right.
So, even as a parent, I had to heal as a divorced mother. I had to heal as a divorced friend, divorced daughter. Like, all of those things, I had to rebuild. I had to, equip myself with new tools, different tools that I had in my toolbox while I was a wife. That those things have to be, I have to take those out, or either rearrange them or use them in different areas of my life, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I've been divorced for 5 years.
Okay.
However, there are still things, pieces, and remnants of stuff that happen. And, with other men that I may have started talking to, or the last relationship that I was in, that I had some aha moments, about. And until we're able to look in the mirror and say, what part of this did I play, or what could I have done differently? What can I do different moving forward? Because we can't go backwards. We can only move forward ahead. Until we are healed enough, there we go back to that word healed, until we're healed enough to do that, we are going to continue to be on this merry-go-round where we're trying to rebound financially and it feels good. I feel like I got it for
Mhm.
3 months and then bam, it hits you again because that thing showed up and reared its ugly face. And now your habits have gone back too. So, what is a good, after the healing,
Mhm.
after doing the tips that you said, sitting down and writing down or putting on a spreadsheet what I bring in. Okay, now what is it that I pay out? All of those things. What when you do that, what do you suggest to be one of or one or two things that you can do to maintain that?
Mm-hmm. Well, to maintain that, then it goes back to establishing goals for yourself. So you can establish, your long-term, midterm, or your short-term goal. So let's say the goal is you want to get out of debt, then that's what you're going to focus on is what do I need to get out of debt. There's so many different resources. One of the things that I'm going to be offering in my Facebook community is tips like here are our strategies on getting out of debt. There's a snowball method, whether you're either paying the biggest debt down or the one with the biggest interest rate. So there's paying down debt, or it could be increase your savings. Ideally, we should be having 3 to 6 months in savings, increasing, working towards increasing that. Or you might have, a goal to start a business and, you need to fund your business. So I would say the maintenance is really always being intentional about establishing financial goals for yourself and being in a place of peace.
That's good.
If you have a lot of debt and it's choking you, you're not at peace. If you aren't making enough money and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're not a place of peace. So determining the goals that you need to set so that you can be in a place of peace financially. One of the things that I'll leave the audience with is I always say money doesn't buy happiness, but it reigns up there with oxygen. Because if you don't have
Ooh,
you can't breathe.
I like
That is
that.
yeah, that is a quote by the founder of Mary Kay Cosmetics. I learned that years ago and I've stuck to it.
I love that. I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
Share the now the group that you have on Facebook. Is that a
Yeah,
private group?
it is a public group.
It's a public
Girlfriend, let's get your money right.
girlfriend. Now, when did you start that and what made you, I think you shared a little bit about
Ooh,
it, but what made you
that's
say,
a
you know what? Let me get this group together.
To be completely honest, I was talking to myself one day. I was looking at my situation. I was like, "Ooh, girlfriend, we need to get your money right." So as a result of that, and it's so funny, Tamara, because I've been in financial services. I did not want to talk about money. I actually started a platform wanting to help women through divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't stay there because for me it felt like I was returning back to that. So
Mm.
I'm so glad you have this platform that I can tune into. I'm like, yeah, we'll let her talk about it. I'll just chime in once in a while. But the financial aspect of it, women just started responding to it. So people would ask me, I want you to come talk to us. And I was like, well, this is my topic, girlfriend, let's get your money right. And women were just like gravitating to that concept. And so I do offer private one-on-one coaching as well as doing group workshops. But the community is an opportunity for maybe those that aren't at the level where they can afford the one-on-one coaching. They can still get tips. They can still be part of a community that they will get support. So that's how that started.
Okay, I love it. And will someone be able to get in contact with you?
Through that group, because through that group, I have the 10 tips that are going to give you some tips on financial principles that I'm talking about through
Mhm.
that group. And then my information will be there as well.
Okay, and that's girlfriend let's.
Yes, girlfriend, let's get your money right.
I'm gonna put it up for us because I think that is such a great, that would be such a great place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just, sometimes we don't want to talk about it with anyone,
Yes.
but I
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to see it and say, okay, let me take my little notes over here. So
Right.
I definitely would love for those of you who are listening and watching, and I'm looking down because I'm trying to type it in. Um, I would love for us all to just join this group and
Yes.
then take it from there, get in contact with Miss Felicia Be Well Kadima and
Mm-hmm.
move forward so that we can maintain, so that we can even let's go back to start so we can get our money right, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can maintain that thing and be in a healthy group where there's encouragement, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
no judgment, and just get some healthy tips so that we can build a healthy relationship with
Mm-hmm.
our money. If
Yeah.
you were to leave something encouraging to a divorcee who is
Mm-hmm.
trying to rebound financially, what would that be?
An encouraging word is really lean on your faith, because that is the rock that really got me through. Lean on your faith and connect with positive platforms like yours to be able to kind of help you through that journey, and be patient with yourself. Be patient with the healing process that you're going through, and really be intentional, like I said before, about your healing work, including addressing the financial challenges that you are having. So that's what I would leave with them.
I love it. I love all of it. And so know that I am going to have you back on, Ladybug.
Okay. And I'll have you on the group so we can have
Yes,
you in the
yes, yes,
conversation.
yes, absolutely. My plan is to have every guest that I have on the show.
Mhm.
We're all going to come together for a group session,
For
and we're
dinner the night
talking about
before.
what you say. Yes,
You
yes.
know, the night before for dinner so we can
Right.
all
So
be there.
listen, you guys, a little information here that you probably didn't know. You know that this is pre-recorded, and so she was on her way here, and she's coming from a distance, and she sent me a message. She called me and she said, "This traffic, this traffic." So this is why she's not sitting right here next to me, and she's home because I said, "Honey, go back, go ahead and go back to the house. I'll send you the link, and we will still make it happen." Because one thing that I am a firm believer of is what is supposed to happen will happen. It may not happen the way that you designed it or created it to be,
Mhm.
right? But it will happen. And so that even falls back to divorce, right? We
Mhm.
didn't say I do to end up saying not anymore. So
Right.
the way that we thought this thing, we would live this life out till death do us part.
Mhm.
We had there were some other things in our deck of cards, right? But we are still living. We are still pushing forward, being happy, healthy, healed, and whole. We're doing the work to be all of that. And so there was no way that I was going to say, well, I guess we'll just skip this topic because this right here, somebody's going to get free because
Right.
of some of the things that you have said today, all of the things. But I am
Mhm.
sure that the listeners, the audience, have held on to something that you said, like that's me right there. If
Mhm.
you can see yourself in anything that Miss Felicia Be Well Kadima has said, I want you to drop something in the comments. I want
Mhm.
you to say that's me. I want you to say, girlfriend, let's get our money right.
Right.
And I
Right.
want you to make sure you run over and join the group. I'll be there as well. And let's just get some tips so that we can live life loud because there is life after divorce. And
Mhm.
I
Yes,
want us to know
there is.
that through everything that we do.
Yes.
So, Miss Felicia, I appreciate you for coming on. Thank you for being one of my amazing guests. I always say, once you come on this platform, you have locked arms with me and you can't get rid of me. That's it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, absolutely. So have an amazing one. Thank you all for joining. Please share, like, send
Mhm.
this to someone that you know that could benefit from the things that were shared today. Follow her group, follow my group, Life After Divorce, or either just my personal page as well, Tamara Catrice on Facebook or on Instagram is Life After Divorce, and Make It Rise. So
And
we
they
will.
can put questions in the chat and we could,
Yes.
we can
Yes.
dialogue with them. Yeah. Put your
Absolutely. Please ask your questions. Drop them in the chat. And if there's a question that you want to ask, but you don't really want to put it on there, go ahead and inbox either myself or Miss Felicia, and we will be sure to respond to you ASAP. All right.
Absolutely.
Well, you guys have a good one. And remember again, there is life after divorce. Live it loud.
Yes, indeed.